Holy shit, Jimmy. Going to the moon, boys. The original Rut Tester. Back in here on the greatest terrain deformation milestone game that there ever has been. Apparently ever will be. Fuck, I don't know. Okay, so I don't think I've ever done a Rut Tester vid on this track right here. Curious to do it on one of these more hard packy style dirt tracks on MXGP 3. You know, that milestone game from like 69 years ago that still has the best terrain deformation of any milestone game. You know that one? Holy shit, Milestone. What am I going to do with you, bro? Either way. Let's see what we got here. So, with these Rut Tester videos, if you guys don't remember, the original goal for them way back like 4 or 5 years ago was to basically like run a couple laps and then skip the video like another 5 laps down the way, and then run another couple laps and then skip the video, you know, so go from like lap 1, 2 to lap, you know, 7, 8, and then to lap like 14, 15, so it gives you guys a bit of a quicker look at what the track actually does over a long period of time. So what we'll try to do in this one right here. Man, this track's got an interesting, like, dusty almost sort of vibe to it with the totally different kind of trees and shit off in the distance. That's pretty cool. Yeah, bros. Yeah, bros. By the way, just a reminder to all of you Dude Ski members out there, members of the channel, make sure you go take a look at that community tab or take a look at my front page. It's got the members-only videos on there. If you didn't catch those members' notifications for those different videos, be sure and keep up to date with that, because we're going to keep the members-only videos rocking. And if you're not already a member, be sure and hit that join button. Take a look-see at what all you can get with that. So, yeah, bro. Back to the old school MXGP. Damn, dude. It is fun coming back to this game. Even though the physics are restrictive in a way, for sure, compared to some of the newer Milestone games, there's just something about the speed feeling of MXGP3, the terrain deformation. And the terrain deformation of MXGP3 is not amazing when you compare it to all other dirt bike games, but when you compare it to other Milestone games, it's the best one. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. But it's the only Milestone game I know of that, like, you can really even feel the terrain deformation without having to run 3 quadrillion, trillion, 420,000 laps on it to even remotely think that you might be feeling something. MXGP 2021, you know what I mean? But this game, it's like, okay, this game does actually have a terrain deformation system, but it's like more than just a visual terrain deformation system, but it's still not crazy by any stretch of the imagination, right? But it is there. Whereas a lot of the other Milestone games, you truly do question if it really even is actually doing anything physical at all. So, that is certainly an element to it, bros. But, yeah. Bro, let me try to take a lap in first person. I can't even remember. Holy shit. Been a long time since Oh, there you go, Swency boy. Been a long time since I played any first person on MXGP3. It's got that old school Yamaha front fender. Yamaha. Let me correct myself. Yamaha. We got that Yamaha, like, 2009 to 2000 fucking, I don't know how long they had this fender on the 450s, but it's about a decade in there, right? This is the same kind of front fender that all of my YZs have, because the last newest one I bought was a 2016 YZ 250. 250, bro, 250. Yeah, dog. Boy, that is interesting. First person on MXGP3, dude. This is savage mode, dude. Bro, I'd love to just come in here and, like, try to do some raw gameplay, first-person gameplay of MXGP3, like I'm fucking playing MX Sim or some shit. That'd be funny. Okay, so what are we on? Lap like 4 out of 20? Dude, you can't make this shit up, bro. We lap 4 out of 20 out here. Look up here to the top left, dude. 4 out of 20, dude. Yes, dude. Perfect time, dude. Okay, I will see you boys in a few laps. We back. Lap 7. So, one thing I've noticed, at least on this track, and I think this is somewhat what you can say about just about any MXGP3 track, unless it's like a super loamy sand track. Those don't really get a whole lot of physical, terrain deformation. But from what I can tell, it's right about that like lap 5, 6. That's the first time you can actually kind of feel something in the corner, that wasn't there on lap 1, right? So you can see how that's a lot different than like on a reflex, where if you got a full gate of riders on a reflex stock track, you're going to feel that terrain deformation basically by like lap 3. You're going to really feel it, Whereas this is like you just barely start to feel it like lap 5, 6. Oh, shit. But even still, I don't feel like MXGP3 ever really fully makes like a rut that actually totally grabs you that just wasn't there before. I think it's kind of that combination of the super grippy kind of traction feeling of MXGP3 with just a little bit of a kind of like a physical dug down deformed kind of rut vibe, berm style thing in the corner, and you kind of combine both of those things, and then it makes you feel like you're kind of hitting more of a physical rut than what's probably there. But even with saying all that, I still think it's more of a quicker developing, more of a physical feeling to the ruts in this game than you have in any other any other Milestone game, any Supercross game, any MXGP game, any of them. So, man, Milestone's going to have to figure that shit out, dude. That is all I'm going to say to that. But yeah, it's like, this was like totally cool for being like Milestone's third MXGP game. As far as the terrain deformation, this was fine. I thought this was a decent terrain deformation from where Milestone was at back when they came out with MXGP3. The problem is, they have not improved on it at all since then. In fact, it's actually less. It's been less in all the Milestone games since then. So it's actually gotten worse. Terrain deformation. Hell, they would have done good if they'd have just had just this much of a physical terrain deformation in all the other Milestone games. But they couldn't even do that. They couldn't even do that, bro. So, yeah, kind of crazy that you can look back at this game and kind of see that. So this first corner area right here, you can definitely see it starting to do something right there. Yeah, there is quite the holy shit, Smithy boy railed that tiny little outside berm rut. Dude. Oh man. Okay. But yeah, you see that cool little dust vibe coming off the back of the bikes? That's a cool little feel. Nice little triple jump right in there. Nice little triple ski jump right in there, bro. Okay. There's just something fun about like I'm saying, that speed feeling of MXGP3 and the way you kind of have to, like, angle your corners if you really want to stay on the gas, A lot of the new MXGP games, I feel like you just don't even get going fast enough for it to really create as much of that feeling as you had back in MXGP3. Smithy boy with the triple to the bounce off the AI triple, bro. Get on my level, bro. Oh my god. But yeah, terrain deformation, it's one of those things like, if you played just the Milestone games, MXGP3 will feel like, oh shit, this is an actual terrain deformation system. But if you've played all other dirt bike games like Reflex and All Out and all that kind of shit, then MXGP3 kind of feels like it's not much of a terrain deformation system, but it's all in what you compare it to, And that's why you can even make a rut tester video on MXGP3. Whoa! Spitzy boy, the little scrub daddying. Little too much sauce on the scrub there, buddy boy. Okay, we're lap 10 right here, so I will come back around lap 15 and we'll wrap this shit up, bro. So it's kind of a different vibe than like Reflex's terrain deformation system for sure. But it definitely adds something to this game that is just certainly not really there in any of the other Milestone games. Like, you might be able to find one track in one of those other Milestone games where you might be able to feel the deformation just a little bit after 69 laps on the track. But I just feel like as a whole, there's none of the other Milestone games that even come close to MXGP3 when it comes to terrain deformation. Like, they don't even come close. Bro just got fucking put in the dirt, dude. Damn, dude. Svency boy is savage. So, bro, it's interesting trying to cut this quarter and hit this triple. That's fun. Damn, dude. That is fun. Where did all that shit go? Like the bigger jump style shit? And like, I don't even know, bro. They've slowed down that gameplay so much in some of those newer MXGP games. It's just like, just takes so much away from it, in my opinion. But yeah, I am noticing not only is it making those ruts in some of the corners, but it's also actually like deforming down some of these landings and some of these jump faces just a little bit, where it makes the bike kind of start to try to step out on you just a little bit more. Not really enough to make you totally crash, unless you do that right there. But, you know, it's not really like to that kind of level, but it definitely does feel like you're kind of riding over a little bit of like almost kickery deformation or like roughness deformation a little bit, you know? It does have a little bit of that vibe to it, so that's cool. So I think the maximum laps you can run is 20 on something on MXGP3, which is different than a lot of the other dirt bike games out there, but overall, like I say, I mean, for where Milestone was at back in the MXGP3 days, it's like, this was like pretty damn good deformation-wise for back in these days. That they just haven't improved any on it or even kept it as good as it was back in these days, right? Interesting to see how that corner has developed that outside rut more than like an inside rut. It's kind of cool how some of the corners it's making like more of an inside deformed rut. Some of them it's making more of like that middle kind of rut, right? And that's the whole thing. Like, that's why I feel like a lot of those newer MXGP games, it's so much more critical for those games to have like pre-made inside ruts and roughness and all that shit, because the deformation does so little, you know? Whereas back in these days, even though there wasn't really much pre-made or like pre-made ruts or a whole lot of pre-made roughness, at least it had the deformation that felt a little bit physical to make up for it, right? A lot of the MXGP games, like in the MXGP Pro 19 and 20 days, it had so much of that feeling of like, well, there's no physical deformation, and on top of that, there's no fucking pre-made. You know, it kind of had that feeling of like having both of those things. I know some of those games had maybe like one inside pre-made rut in some of the fucking corners, but you know what I'm saying though. So here we are, lap 16 out of 20. Oh, bro. When in doubt, just use the AI. Bro, it has built up that fucking outside rut. But yeah, I think this is one of those cases where if the deformation rate would have just been multiplied by like 2, I think it would have really gave you quite a bit of a different vibe than this does right here, you know? This is more of a like very, very slow deformation sort of feel. Well, Svency Boy's still trying to learn how far he can push the scrubs on the jump faces. Alrighty then. Yeah, it's like it's doing just enough physically to where you can actually feel something. You know, it's doing just enough. I know Reflex's terrain deformation kind of works in a sense of it builds it up, like builds it up and builds it up, and then it starts to smooth it out at a certain point. I don't really know if MXGP3 is exactly like that or not, but see that corner right there really hasn't done what some of these other corners have. So there must be something in there where the whatever kind of like dirt feeling or some shit. They've got some corners that'll actually rut more than the other corners, which I think is crucial. Bro, it's almost like actually that outside deformed line is actually more usable. It's actually fucking usable. You feel like you're going faster on it than hitting the far inside. That's pretty cool. And this little single right here is getting a little bit of deformation on it where it almost feels like you're hitting a little bit of a single kicker or something like that. It's kind of cool. So yeah, there's only 2 more laps right here on this. I've basically shown you what this track does. Interesting how like if you could run 30 laps on a track versus 20, wonder what all different kind of shit you'd experience with that deformation, you know? I'm not even so sure on that, bros. Not even so sure. But, yeah, they've certainly lost their touch with whatever the hell they had back in these days. I think the speed feeling of this game and the terrain deformation feeling of this game was the best of any MXGP game out there, period. Both of those things, which are 2 very crucial things to a motocross-only game, you know, the overall speed feeling of it and the, see that right there? I kind of hit a little bit of that rut, kind of cross-rutted a little, and it kicked my ass in a little bit. The overall speed feeling and the terrain deformation is some of the most crucial things to a moto-only game. And so, you know, it makes a pretty damn big difference when that's the thing that I feel like was the best. Those things I feel like were the best in the MXGP3 days, you know? Even though you don't have as much movement on the bike, and obviously the graphics are a lot more outdated and shit like that, there's definitely still something there that I feel like you just don't really get with the newer MXGP games. They're slower paced, the scaling feels smaller, and you're going slower, and there's not as much terrain deformation. You know, it's kind of all those things together. But either way, boys, we're about here on the last couple laps. I'll probably cut this video off right here. I basically showed you what this track does. So either way, man, be sure and go check out that Erode tester playlist on my channel if you want to check out any more videos like this one. And I'll see you big dogs on that next one. Later, dudes.